The recent arrest of 17 students at Texas Christian University as part of a 6-month drug sting was an especially embarrassing blow to the school's athletic program because it included 4 members of their high-profile football team.
We're now joined via Skype by Dr. David Leonard, professor of gender and race studies at Washington State University, to talk about the TCU case and its wider implications. Hello, Professor. Welcome.
Good morning, Brian and Lucy. How you doing?
Good, good. Fill us in on what happened at TCU and how that's been chronicled.
So, from what media reports have been, there was a 6-month investigation that netted the arrest of at least 17 students as well as some non-students, and within that group was 4 student athletes, and as you mentioned, 4 football players, and the media has really latched on to the story because of the involvement of those 4 student athletes. I mean, if you do a search online for drugs college campus, that's what's going to come up. And so the story's very much been beginning and ending with those 4 seemingly erasing those other students and the broader issue of drug use on college campuses from the discussion.
Yeah, there certainly is a broader issue of drug use. Are we going to, hear or see that at all? And is this case, being used as an example?
Unfortunately not. It's really a missed opportunity to talk about drugs, and not only drugs like marijuana, but prescription drugs on college campuses. And instead it's being used to talk about football and to blame the issue of drug use and drug distribution on football, playing into ideas about privileged college athletes who do what they want, and I think it's a missed opportunity, and it misplaces our focus.
So where's the missed opportunity? I think it seems there's more of an emphasis on the relationship between the college athletes and the athletic programs, as you mentioned. So what's the missed opportunity you feel?
Well, I think it's a missed opportunity to look at the ways in which race operates inside the criminal justice system. And so the media focusing on football players, and articles have referenced the rise of marijuana use among football players, and have referenced basketball, really plays into this narrative that drugs are a problem that need to be addressed within communities of color. And so studies have shown when people are asked to imagine a drug dealer, 95% of people imagine an African-American male. And this story contributes to that idea, and it's a missed opportunity to challenge that, to look at the ways in which drug use and drug distribution cuts across racial and class lines, and to deal with that problem instead of placing it onto student athletes and black athletes specifically.
Professor, now I have not seen the images attached to this story, but just from what you're telling me, I'm assuming the athletes are black and the other students are not. Is that correct?
I actually don't know of the other students, and my point isn't necessarily what is in reality, it's what we imagine it to be. The implication, I mean, when we have stories that emphasize football and basketball as if drug use is a heightened problem, that plays into the stereotypes of who's playing those sports. Not so much in actuality, but that's what we think of. And so if we look at NC2A studies that found that drug use among basketball and football players is basically equal to not only other sports, but non-athlete students, whereas things like lacrosse, 50% of students are reported to use drugs in that particular way.
You just mentioned non-athletes also, dealing with this and being a part of this. Why don't we hear more about that?
Because it doesn't fit our narrative. It doesn't fit our vision of who is selling and using drugs. It pushes us to think about the national issue of drug use. It pushes us to think about why the war on drugs is disproportionately pushed onto communities of color, into poor communities. And by forcing us to deal with it, by forcing us to think about drug use, recreational drug use, so to speak, prescription drugs, that puts into question the criminal justice system and its continued inequalities.
You know, you raise an interesting point, and we've heard the controversy over the very harsh penalties imposed on kids who sell crack cocaine as opposed to those who sell powdered cocaine, which the crack cocaine obviously used among the poorer minority communities, powder cocaine used in other communities, and there we see a striking difference. Is this the same kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's the ways, and not so much in reality. It's the ways in which our imagination fits to this. And so, yes, I mean, it reflects the ways in which the war on drugs is a segregated endeavor, and college campuses are immune. And it represents what Michelle Alexander says is the new Jim Crow. Jim Crow has let college students, particularly white middle-class students.
Dr. Leonard, thanks for joining us. Always insightful. We'll look to have you again soon.
Thanks, Doc.
Thank you for having me. Have a good day.
You too.